Hi there, Malcolm here with my 174th Booktube video, and today I'll be bringing you my July wrap-up and August TBR. Now in July I only managed 6 books totalling 1,450 pages, putting me just about 358 pages up over the same time of last year. So I'm still ahead, but not by much. Still got plenty of books to talk about, so let's get cracking. So first up, I finished The Pearls of Lutra by Brian Jacks. This is a Redwall novel. And in this one, pirates kidnap the abbot of Redwall Abbey and demand the Redwallers hand over some pearls, the Pearls of Lutra, something they didn't even know they had. So this is a 2-part story, one a treasure hunt, as they go round Redwall Abbey solving riddles and clues to find each of the individual pearls, whilst their warrior mouse Martin leads an expedition to go and rescue the abbot. Now, it's about the 9th Redwall book I've read so far, and by now they are beginning to have a somewhat formulaic feel to them. And so what I look for is what makes this one stand out from the rest of the series. And I'm sorry to say there wasn't really much that stood out for me in this one. It's just as good as the rest of the books, so certainly worth reading or even worth buying. Now, great character moments, lots of food, and lots of nasty creatures getting their comeuppance. But the same can be said for most of the Redwall books anyway. And after that I then finished Back to the Future Continuum Conundrum. This is the second book in the Back to the Future series that ties into the original trilogy. The first book gave a lovely selection of short stories fitting in and around the trilogy, adding certain backstories to certain characters or what happened next, and various other things. This one acts as the direct sequel to the trilogy, with all the expected twists and turns and alternate timelines that make the Back to the Future series so good. I don't think it was as good as the films, but had this been made as a film, I might change my mind about that. But very enjoyable nonetheless. I quite like the artwork. It really works for the type of story. Buy it. And then after that was my book of the month, Wrath of the Lemming Men. This is by Toby Frost, and it's the 3rd book of the Chronicles of Isambard Smith, which has a real satirical look at colonialism, the British Empire, where hapless ship's captain Isambard Smith, his head collecting friend Suruk, and his ex-sex bot android pilot Carveth go on a new adventure when the Empire is beset by hordes of suicidal lemming men. Like with the previous 2 books, a whole lot of fun, but having good knowledge of Britishness and British pop culture is essential to understand half of this, and also good understanding of science fiction pop culture as well. Buy it. And after that I then read Legion of Monsters. This is a Marvel Select graphic novel featuring Morbius and specifically Elsa Bloodstone. Now, I haven't seen the Morbius film yet. I haven't heard great things about it, which isn't exactly inspiring me. So I picked it up out of curiosity. Who is Morbius? Who's Elsa Bloodstone? There are some other monsters characters as well, but the focus is mainly on those 2. And there's a virus which is effectively turning the well-behaved and pacified monsters of Monster City into the deadly, scary beasts that they once were, or could be. And so it's left a legion of monsters to try and find out what is causing this illness. The artwork's quite gritty, in fitting with the theme, and I really enjoyed it. I found it told me an awful lot about who Elsa Bloodstone is, and Morbius, and some of the other characters as well, and so I have a much better understanding about all these characters. And the story flowed really well as well, so worth buying for that. Like with many other Marvel Select graphic novels, it concludes with a couple of original showings from some of the older comics. The first of those is an Elsa Bloodstone short story, which I've really enjoyed. Lots of great artwork, and although brief, really packs a punch. And then there's a 2-part Tomb of Dracula crossover series, Werewolf by Night, very much the old style comics. And something happened in it, I don't know, I absolutely hated it. From page 1 to the end, I don't know what it was, I hated it, just... Anyway, excluding that, this is still worth buying. And then after that, I then read Buffy the Vampire Slayer, How I Survived My Summer Vacation Volume 1. This is a series of short stories set after the first series, when Buffy goes on holiday. She goes off to stay with her dad in LA. And so we have a little bit of her going there and seeing what's life over in that part of the world. But mostly we hang around with Giles and Xander and Willow and Angel and Jenny as they hold back the forces of darkness without Buffy. And many of these stories kind of feed into the opening of season 2. Yeah, a lot of fun. I think all the stories were at least good. Some were a bit better than others, but quite an enjoyable little book. worth buying. And then finally, I read Carnage: A Family Feud. I'm yet to see the film. Another Marvel character I don't know that much about really. And in this one, some guys utilising the symbiote to create something for his own purposes, some sort of armour or something, and it backfires horribly, as one would expect. And it's left to Spider-Man and Iron Man to step in and save the day. This reinforced why I've been picking out the Marvel Select graphic novels lately, because they're quite good self-contained stories around the various Marvel characters. You don't have to have had too much backstory or reading of other materials to know who these are and what's going on. They're pretty well self-contained. It assumes that you know who Spider-Man is, for example, but beyond that, you don't have to worry too much. Whereas this very much feeds into the wider Marvel universe, and it refers to things that have happened and characters, and I was able to follow most of it, but this one really was more for those who are well versed in the universe at this point and what's going on and who's who. The artwork was also quite dark and in many cases not particularly clear, and in many cases there's a lot of white space on the page where actually I think the art could have utilised the whole area just to make it clear what's going on. And I found myself having to read a page over and over again, or going back and rereading bits because I didn't actually understand what was going on. Now again, there were characters popping up and doing a thing, and I didn't even know they could do this thing because I didn't know who that character was. Or right near the beginning, there's this transport van carrying somebody, and someone drives into the back of it and jumps out trying to stop them. I didn't get any of that until much later when they referred to that as what happened. I was like, oh, I thought they're just some random passerby. And I kind of begrudge having to read a page over and over again, or going back and reading a bunch of pages again just to say, oh, that's what happened. If you're going to have a story told in a pictorial form, make it clear that that is what's going on in your story. No, I don't need everything spelled out in tiny detail for me, but at the same time, if you're going to tell a story, tell the story. Glad I read it. Also glad I didn't pay full whack for it. Alright, those are what I've read. What have I got coming up in the month of August? Well, at some point I'll read my book of the month, which this month will be Firefly: What Makes Us Mighty. This one's by M.K. England. No idea what it's about, but no doubt the crew of Serenity have a job, it goes wrong, and we have a story out of it. This is the latest, and I think at the moment the last Firefly novel out at the moment. For a while, so I want to read it. But I won't read it until I finish the book I started last month, which is Halo: Broken Circle by John Shirley, set before the original game. Really enjoying it so far. I just want to get it finished. And so once I do that, I'll then read the Firefly. And then after that, I'll then move on to reading these two books, which I waved at you last month. Predator: South China Sea by Jeff Vandermeer, looking to be a story very similar in terms of feel and look to the original film. It will be its own thing, but looking forward to that one. And the novelisation of the film Species by Yvonne Navarro, which I'll probably read in conjunction with the graphic novel. Meant to have done that last month. I've been tired. Not as much reading happened as I'd hoped. And before I get through all that, the other book I want to try and read is The Valhalla Prophecy by Andy McDermott. And this is part of the Wild Chase series. And the MacGuffin this time is some Viking runestone. These are quite thick books, but very quick reading. Lots of high-octane action, chase sequences of ridiculousness. A lot of fun. Looking forward to reading that one. I quite enjoy the series. For the graphic novels, I'm reading another Marvel Select, Ant-Man World Hive, where Scott Lang is the Ant-Man, and he is assisted by his daughter, Stinger. Really enjoying it so far. Very funny. And to my wife, I'm still reading The Shadow Casket by Chris Wooding, book 2 of the Darkwater Legacy. That's really good, but quite a big book to get through. So there we go, really hoping I'm going to get through those, and more perhaps. So, have you read any of those? Are you interested in reading any of those? Did you like them? Did you not like them? Comments below, please. But if you have nothing nice to say, then please keep it to yourself. Thank you, and until next time, see you later.